Mnemonic devices. It's a funny sounding name for words and images we often encounter. By definition, the word mnemonic is an adjective that means aiding or meant to aid one's memory. Mnemonic devices are those verbal and visual clues that help us remember complicated concepts and make accurate connections. Let me give you a few examples. Let's start with middle school. How many of you learned the order of operations in math class using this mnemonic device? Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Each letter of this phrase represents the first letter of each mathematical concept in its appropriate order when solving a complex math problem. So if you were given a problem that looked like this, by using the Please Excuse My Dear Aunt Sally mnemonic device, you knew to start by working out the math problem in parentheses first, and then any exponents, and then the multiplication and division, and finally the addition and subtraction. There are plenty more verbal mnemonic devices. What about my very educated mother just sent us pizza to remember the planets in our solar system: Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Pluto. And let's not forget about the United States Great Lakes, memorized using the acronym HOMES for Lakes Huron, Ontario, Michigan, Erie, and Superior. While these verbal memory aids are useful, mnemonic devices are not solely based on words. Logos are visual designs that use mnemonic devices to make memorable connections with an audience and create a solid user experience. Here's a pop quiz. I'll show you a few logos and you tell me who they belong to. Don't worry about raising your hand, shout your answers out. Here we go. Time's up. If you guessed Monster Energy Drink, Hello Kitty, Rolling Stones, BP, and Apple, you're correct. These visual logos, through repetition, have become a memory aid for a larger product. Visual mnemonics are also important in design because they allow you to do more than create a catchy logo. These visual mnemonic devices provide salient user experience. For example, those of you who recognize the Rolling Stones logo, how many of you now have a Rolling Stones song playing in your head? For those of you who recognize the BP logo, how many of you felt a negative emotion upon seeing the BP logo? This is likely due to the massive BP oil spill in 2010 that resulted in much negative publicity and loss of credibility for the conglomerate. Mnemonic devices aid with memory, but they also create and sustain meaning. So today, we diagnosed Aunt Sally, your educated mother, and others as being mnemonic devices, whether verbal or visual. Mnemonic devices are useful memory and design tools. One last pop quiz. Who can come up with a mnemonic device for this logo? So far, I've come up with Make All Tigers Run Far, Mountain Air 'Tis Really Fresh, and maybe another time Respectable Friend. Why don't you see what you can come up with?